So what do you make of this pitch so far by the Business Council of Australia? And it's based on modelling by KPMG and the Grattan Institute as well. So it wants to lift, as you just heard, the childcare subsidy from 85 to 95% for families who earn less than $80,000 a year. What do you make of that?
I think that the proposals that the Business Council are talking about, which were contained in its budget submission, are absolutely fantastic, critical steps for Australia addressing the broader problems that we have with women. Both paid parental leave and early childhood education and care are fundamental policies that enable families to participate in the paid workforce, but also critically to balance their caring responsibilities with their working responsibilities in a manner that is sustainable. Now, on both these issues in terms of childcare access and affordability and paid parental leave, Australia has been lagging the world for a very long time. We haven't had any action on paid parental leave for over a decade. We've got the second least generous or least adequate paid parental leave program in the OECD. America is the only one with a less generous scheme than we have. So it is absolutely fantastic to see the Business Council and business community come out and endorse these policies that a number of organisations have been talking about for a very long time, with really substantial modelling to back up why these are critical investments in Australia.
And it also wants to scrap the annual cap. That's something that Labor announced that it wanted to do last year as well. Do you think that's a given?
Yeah, I do. I think that the Business Council's proposal is very similar to the proposal that Labor put forward when Anthony Albanese gave his budget reply speech, and they put childcare reform at the centre. As an interim step before universal access to high quality early education, which it is relevant to say that Labor proposed as the eventual goal. But as an interim, it identified eliminating the cap, tapering the childcare subsidy as the Business Council has also said, because those particular issues act as handbrakes for a lot of women working beyond 3 days a week, because that is the point where it becomes there's no financial gain for doing that.
Sure, and because with these changes that hopefully come for those women, those families who are on the lower income threshold, I mean, I guess everyone's probably going to want to put their hand up for this. So what should be applied in your view to middle income earners and even higher income earners, because that in itself would also boost productivity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we need to really be clear about here is that every single family benefits from adequate paid parental leave and high quality early childhood education and care. Now, those benefits exist beyond the income threshold of any family. So we know that for early childhood education and care, for example, children with any disadvantage stand to benefit significantly more than children without disadvantage. But we also know that even with children who've got parents with a comfortable income level and who aren't experiencing income distress, their children still benefit hugely from high quality early learning. So I think what is actually fundamental is that we start talking about these policies as benchmarks for all Australians. So it is very tempting to only frame early childhood education and care and paid parental leave as policies that only advantage high income earning women. But the reality is these policies actually stand to benefit more disadvantaged and vulnerable groups of the population than anyone else, because it is a safety net. It is a vital safety net that gives women and children the ability to develop financial security, which then provides options. But it also, having access to high quality early learning and care is fantastic regardless of your income.
And for a government accused of neglecting women, is childcare and proposed changes a pretty good place to start?
Absolutely. I mean, I would say that, as I said earlier, Australia has really lagged the world in terms of meaningful reform to address the issue of gender equality. So, the World Economic Forum recently put out its annual Global Gender Gap Index. And 15 years ago, Australia ranked 15th in the world for the gap between men and women. We currently rank 50th. And the reason for that is that we have not taken any meaningful action to reduce the gap between men and women in this country. But also, other countries have been doing things like this, which has meant they've accelerated their efforts to close the gender gap. And there is a very, very solid economic rationale for doing that, but also a social rationale. And I think that if the federal government is really sincere about saying we are listening, we are recognising that women in this country are not being treated adequately, these two policies are a terrific place to start to signal a genuine intention to create change.